Hey everyone, welcome to the webinar. I'm Andy Winnig, and I'm really excited to be on this call today. We're going to go ahead and get started. If you haven't yet, go ahead and post in the chat box what you're most grateful for today. And if you don't want to do public chat, you can go ahead and do private chat. If you click on the arrow, you can chat directly with me if you don't want everyone to see. But go ahead and chat what you're grateful for today. Thanks to everyone. I'm glad to see we've got people from all across the country here, and even some from other countries. So that's great. It was a lot of fun. So either through public or private chat, tell me what you're most grateful for. I'm super grateful for you giving me about 60 minutes of your time today to learn something new. This is something I'm extremely passionate about sharing and teaching, and it's probably the most interesting audience for me to teach it to, because just by being on this call today, I can tell that you're interested in taking action, growing your business and your brand. So I'm very excited about this. Again, thank everyone for signing in. There's still people leaving comments in the chat box where you're from, so thanks everyone for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, a lot of these slides, because I have a lot of different slides to share. But this is really all about, for me, when people say, what does trusted advisor really mean? And what does it mean to grow your business through business networking? So I'm assuming there are a lot of entrepreneurial types on this webinar right now. So some of you may be business owners, small business owners, freelancers. You may work for other people, but I'm assuming a lot of entrepreneurs are entrepreneurial-minded individuals. And what I really teach is how to get other people calling you with legitimate leads. So how to use business networking to develop those relationships and that trust so that we can develop that trust so that other people are promoting your products and services for you. So my mission, just to tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from, it took me about 7 years to learn the skills that I'm teaching you today. It was 7 years of joining networking groups and attending networking events with very few results. And my mission is that it's not going to take you 7 years to learn this stuff. Because business networking is fun. It's fun getting to know people, and really fun when you can attract and help more clients. So that's my passion, helping other people learn these skills so they can become trusted advisors and attract more of the right people into their business network. And that's really been what business networking is all about for me. It allows me to reach a larger audience and serve this mission by teaching people how to develop trust as they meet people and expand their referral network. So thank you again for joining me. You've made an awesome choice. It's a completely free webinar. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how I did this myself. How I went from no sales and no business or business networking experience to growing 2 businesses on the strength of my trusted advisor relationships. I'm an engineer by training, so I had that against me. And I had no business experience, which I guess kind of goes along with being an engineer. I kind of figured it all out, by accident and with some guidance along the way. And so what I'm going to be teaching you now is how to do that. I'm very excited. So I'm going to walk you through step-by-step how you can do this for yourself for the next couple of weeks. I mean, yeah, it takes time to develop your network, and there are things you can do. I'm going to show a formula you can put in place to really start seeing results in about 2 to 3 weeks. Of course, there's things to learn, a minute to learn, lifetime to master kind of stuff. But I don't want you to think you have to wait months to do this, because there are things you can do right now, today. And the faster you take action, the quicker you're going to be able to generate the leads and the results that you want. To start getting those kinds of results you want from business networking right now. And again, it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in. I'm going to show you how to do this and how lots of other businesses are doing the exact same thing to bring in lots more clients and profits. So let's go ahead and dive in. If this sounds exciting to you, if this is the information you're interested in, then go ahead and type in the chat box. Let me know you're excited about it and that you're in the right place, and this is what you've been looking for. Remember, you can chat publicly or privately. Either is fine. Oh, good. So I see a lot of excited people. That's great. A lot of people on the call know each other. That's good, too. Yes, excellent. Great, great. So I'm glad to know that you're all in the right place. So here are the proven facts. SCORE. Maybe some of you have heard of them. These retired business executives volunteer their time to educate and mentor small businesses. Do you think they know a thing or two about growing businesses? And someone asked them, does SCORE think that networking can be an effective way to grow a small business? And remember that the skills of the trusted advisor are all networking skills. If you want to be a trusted advisor, the best time to start networking was 5 years ago. The second best time is today. And so does SCORE think that networking can be effective for growing a small business? Well, of course. But this is interesting. They say it definitely works that way as long as people get to know you and come to rely on your quality and professionalism you provide for your customers. So what do you think other people conclude about your quality and professionalism if you aren't prepared to answer the most basic business networking question? Well, but let's turn that around. What do you think people think of someone who can clearly and concisely say what they do? Instant trust, instant stature. So that's the first step to becoming a trusted advisor, to master your elevator pitch. Think about it. People who can help you with your success are at these networking events, and their first impression of your professionalism is your elevator pitch. So what does your elevator pitch say about your quality profession? And now, Dr. Ivan Misner, the founder of BNI. Now, anyone part of a BNI chapter? BNI is funny because they are so successful that everyone hates them, literally. Even some of their most productive members. Now, I'm not kidding. And anyone who's starting a networking group can't wait to tell you how different their networking group will be from BNI. But if you're only going to be like BNI in one way, make it the tens of thousands of dollars a month in referrals they pass between their members. So whether you love BNI or hate it, Dr. Ivan Misner knows a thing or two about networking. And according to Dr. Misner, what is the secret to getting more business through business networking? What is the secret? Well, the secret is time. Because it's interesting, because the number one business networking challenge people tell me they have is, you guessed it, not enough time. So according to Dr. Misner, people who spend 2 hours a week networking don't get much benefit from networking, but spend 6.5 hours a week networking. That's about 16% of your time if you're only working 40 hours a week. And so people who spend 16% of their time generate on average 50% of their business from networking. Now, of course, part of the benefit you get from BNI is learning their approach to elevator pitches, one-on-ones, professional referrals, partnerships, whatever. They have a whole system. What throws people off, what people find confusing and off-putting about BNI is that it's expensive up front, both from time and money, to get into and learn their system before you start seeing the results. And as I said, today is about learning a new formula for doing this much more quickly and inexpensively. So what is business networking anyway? It's developing relationships. Trusted relationships. And back to Dr. Misner again, it's about much more than showing up and shaking hands. And he recommends doing something specific each week that's geared towards business, networking for business growth. And that's really what today's program is about. Remember, you only need 6.5 hours a week, but you can't spend the 6.5 hours doing just anything. We're going to be talking about specific things you can be doing with those 6.5 hours a week. So what can we do each week to fuel this business growth? Well, why do we want to learn this? Well, Harvard McKay wrote several books. One of the better-known ones is Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty, and he has a couple of great quotes, absolutely great quotes about business networking. The first is, up the proverbial creek, if you've got a network, you've always got a paddle. And isn't that the truth? When you have people who take and return your calls, you can move mountains. You can get so many things done. And the other quote of his that I like any new behavior, the more you practice the skills of networking, the easier it becomes. Why is that important? Well, I went to meetup.com the other day to take a look at Meetup is in-person networking, and look what I pulled up. Events, this is just within 5 miles of Boston. They're right near me. That's what I pulled up. Events start at 6 in the morning. They go till way after 8 at night. Look at these numbers. There's 59 people going to this thing. There's 64 people going to this one. There's 118 going to this event. Wow, that's a lot of people. I mean, if you can get a strong elevator pitch in front of those people, then you'll really have some leads. So then what? How do you take that and develop trust? Okay, it's time to share with you a story. So we're going to get into the really fun part here. So I'm going to request that you, before I get into this story, I'm going to request you put your phone down. Many of you are probably holding it right there in your hand. So just flip it over, put it aside. I want you to shut down any other screen on your computer right now, blow the screen up so it's full screen. We're going to be sharing some very interesting information over the next 45 to 60 minutes. And we're going to go through this pretty quickly because we've got a lot to share, a lot of slides, and I want to get you as much as you can in a short amount of time. And my request is that you stay on and stay committed until the very end because I want to make sure I get you all of this information. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to give away a bonus to someone. We're in this interactive program, and I want to make sure you get as much out of it as possible. So at the end of this webinar, I'm going to give away a half-hour phone call with me. That's a $250 value just for participating in the chat box and putting through some great comments about this material. So at the end of this program, I'm going to pick the person who is the most involved and kind of has the best comments. So it's not just about posting once, and it's not posting about the weather or what you had for lunch or me tooing other people's comments. It's really about mastering and working with these skills, using these techniques and templates and coming up with something that's authentically you and will bring you more leads. So what do all great business networking stories start with? I met someone. I met someone who has generated over $2,500 in business for me so far without ever becoming a customer. We'll call this guy Steve because, well, that's what he likes to be called. He's a Jewish guy like me who loves a delicatessen called Zoftig. So we sit down in Natick for a one-on-one. And it's a blast talking to this guy. Fun, funny, very personable, fellow entrepreneur like me, owns a couple of businesses. And that's where the one-on-one gets interesting. Almost. He's a promotional products guy, just like a lot of folks, maybe even some folks here on the call. But when he hears about my second business, he mentions his second business. He has this product for car dealerships. And my window cleaning business does a lot of work with local car dealerships. Turns out that the car dealerships are a great referral for him. So do I instantly send him all my contacts? No. I do nothing. I don't really know this guy yet. I'm not ready to share my best customers with him. So I let it sit. And we follow up with each other occasionally over the next several months using some of the techniques I'll talk about here in a second. You know, nothing pushy, just checking in and sharing successes in our businesses. And like I said, I mean, I like the guy. I don't mind hearing from him. And it happens. Call it serendipity, but I just call it business networking. Actually, I call it opportunity spotting, but more about that when we get to the fifth point, the fifth piece of content we're going to talk about here today. So I'm doing a presentation for a networking group over in Arlington, and the owner of one of the car dealerships is in the audience. So I do the presentation, then approach him afterwards. I tell him a little bit about Steve and say I think it could be a good connection. He agrees. Then he tells me that he wants to follow up with me. Long story short, this car dealership guy hires me to coach his sales team and ends up signing up with Steve for the massage chairs for the waiting room in his service department. And that's really the aha moment for me about the power of business networking. I approached someone with something for him, a referral that I thought would benefit him, and it also turned into a sale for me. Now, would I have signed him up if I hadn't approached him that day? I don't think so. But I'll tell you, I now look for any excuse to approach people after a presentation. I'm always looking for reasons, not having to do with me, to start talking with people. And that's easier to do when you have a strong business network, right? Having this guy in my business network gave me a reason to go up to this guy so that we can talk about those skills. The 5757, that's the Jewish deli, so that's the Jewish year. That's the year. So thanks, Kelly, for that question. So that deli is established in 5757 with the Jewish year. The Jewish year is on a different calendar. Thanks for a great question. So now I can't guarantee that you'll get thousands of dollars in business out of every one-on-one, but I'll share here with you in a second how quickly you can develop trust when you use these skills that we're talking about today. Yes, the faster you take action, the quicker you're going to be able to get the leads you want from the people you already know and the networking events that you're already attending. And I'm super pumped to show you how it works. So I'm going to go over the agenda right now really quickly. I'm going to keep diving into this information because I'm going to share with you guys how exactly this is a little bit. So I'm going to go into my story a little bit, how I became a trusted advisor. I know I just shared a story with you about powerful results, but I'm going to tell you how I got into it. And I'm going to give you examples of 3 or 4 people who are becoming trusted advisors. Most of them are sales managers or solo entrepreneurs. They don't have a lot of time, and they need to get as much as they can out of each and every event. They're all from different industries, so I'm going to talk about them. Then we're going to talk about how trusted advisors get results from networking events. So quick show of hands, or actually in the chat box. So how many people expect to get leads out of every event they attend, and how many actually get leads out of every event? So you can put in the yes, yes, or yes, no. Like, do you expect to get leads, and do you actually get leads out of the event? Let's go ahead and talk into the chat box. So let's see what people kind of expect from networking events right now. Yes, yes, and no. No. No, no, okay. Yes, yes, every event, great. No, but I often get one good lead. Excellent, great. Okay, so you may not always get leads, but sometimes you do get leads, and some of you do get leads all the time, which is great. So you understand the power of becoming a trusted advisor, and you're already doing extremely well, and that's awesome. So hopefully I can teach you some more new stuff and develop even more with even more people and leverage your time even better. So the next part of the agenda, I'm going to be sharing with you the 5-step trusted advisor networking system. Yes, this is going to be the main content, going over exactly what's involved in the process of becoming a trusted advisor. Okay, there's a lot that goes on with being a trusted advisor. There's a lot behind the scenes. That happens before you have to choosing the event, putting it in the calendar, putting out directions, or putting it in your GPS, making sure you have business cards, making sure you eat beforehand. And that doesn't include the networking groups you may be part of, any chambers of commerce or BNIs or group like that. And then there's the trusted advisor process, how you actually develop the trust. And then there's the third part, which is the follow-up process. Because you can't develop trust instantly. That all happens later. It all happens over time, after the event or the meeting. That's when people develop all these relationships, because you never actually close any work at the event. So you have to have a real solid system for follow-up. So there's really those three parts to becoming a trusted advisor. And I'm going to be sharing with you today the middle part, really what skills you want to learn to develop that trust effectively. So people will take your calls and call you back. And we'll be learning that during the webinar. And then at the very end of this training, I'll be showing you how you can take the whole package. We've got an advanced training for those who are interested in signing up, really how to become a trusted advisor. So you can take what I give you now on the webinar and apply it, or you can get the whole thing with the advanced training. And we'll be talking about that, how to really take everything to the next level. And then I'm going to do a Q&A at the end for about 15 minutes. We'll go over the questions. And if there are any questions I haven't answered in the webinar, you can always email me later. But and a lot of people sent me really good questions ahead of time, so I'll be answering everything you sent me ahead of time. I'll be answering at the very end. And then we're going to do the bonus giveaway. Remember, I'm giving away that free half-hour call with me, whoever interacts the best with the chat box. So I'm going to take good notes, participate in the chat box, and I'll wait till the very end so we can get the most amount of interaction possible. So keep chatting about the content of this webinar, because if you only have one chat, then it's definitely not going to be chosen. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So let's go ahead and get this started. Ready? Here we go. So the first part of the agenda, a little about me. I'm going to fly through this pretty quickly because I want to get to the content here in a second. But for those of you who don't know me, I want to talk about this for a quick second, a little bit about me. Back in 2001, I was living the dream. I was being paid 6 figures a year with plenty of stock options at a web startup called Informio. I was being paid to develop highly reliable telephony software systems that could handle thousands of simultaneous callers in every major city across the country. I was on the fast track to becoming the VP of engineering when one day, 13 and a half years ago, it all came crumbling down, literally. 2 planes crashed into the Twin Towers in New York. IT spending dried up. Our venture capitalists pulled back their money, and on January 1st, 2002, I was unemployed for the first time in my 15-year computer career. There were no computer jobs, and I had a very strong motivation for finding a way to make money. I did not want to have to move back in with my parents. So I started looking for a new career. So long story very short, I brought in on a franchise called Fish Window Cleaning. And this is actually me, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, back in May of 2002 when I started my window cleaning business. And I spent the next year and a half doing everything: cleaning, selling, hiring, payroll, collections. I was the original one-armed wallpaper, the paper hanger, the man with many hats. And one day, I meet this guy named Tom Vance. Tom was a membership director at the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce the day I walked in to sell them window cleaning. I walked out with a chamber membership and a new customer. And as we cleaned the chamber windows that first time, Tom approached me about a new idea he had: to start up networking groups under the umbrella of the chamber. So I spent the next 3 years working closely with Tom on his networking groups, coming up with ideas, trying them out, keeping what worked, mastering the whole process. This process of developing relationships that lead to sales. The process of having these conversations with people and getting to know them better. So I was active in a bunch of other groups as well, meeting people, practicing my skills, getting better at developing trust. And then one day, this was back in 2005, I introduced the guy who was running my window cleaning business for me to my networking group, and I started networking for my own business, Improv Andy. Now, I know that networking works, but the thing is, it's easy to overlook just how well it's working. I realized one day recently that the group of people I met 8 years ago through Tom Vance accounted for over $75,000 in sales for my window cleaning business each year. Now, I'm not saying that networking is the only reason that my business will top $750,000 in revenue this year, but I'm telling you, that stuff that comes from the referrals is the easiest stuff to close. It's so easy to close those sales. And here's the real kicker. Earlier this year, I got a call from her when I met over 3 years ago. She had joined a new networking group and wanted me to come speak to her group. There was no one else in the running. I named my price and did the job. And that job led to another job. There's actually someone in the audience scouting me to come talk to her group, and another job and another job. That's trusted advisor selling, right? People call you at the right time for them. It's a really fun way to grow a business. And I realized that other people are prospecting for me. I don't have to make all the contacts. People bring leads to me. And those, as I just said, they're the easiest leads to close. So I'm an engineer turned entrepreneur. I don't clean windows anymore. I spend 5 to 7 hours a week on my window cleaning business. And the rest of the time I coach other business owners, give presentations, develop training programs. I have been a finalist for Small Business of the Year and Franchisee of the Year. I've won sales awards and inspiration awards and been on the radio and TV. I've even hosted a few TV shows. But here's the thing that I'm most excited about, the most passionate about, what becoming a trusted advisor has done for me. It allows me the freedom to do what I want. So for me, I want to be able to chase my dreams and live them, not just talk about them. I want to be able to pursue them on a daily basis. And I spent 3 full weeks at the beach this summer with my family, which doesn't include our Disney World vacation back last April, our trip to Storyland last fall, or the trip to California we're taking in a couple of weeks here. I play basketball in the local league, and I go downhill skiing as often as I can. And this is really fun for me, knowing that I have the business in place, and I've got the passive income, and networking is supporting that. And I can play the piano and travel and do what I want with my family. It's a very powerful thing. And, I don't know if anyone feels this way. You want to not, 15, 20 hours a day working on their business, work really hard, but set up systems instead that leverage the tools that support saving you time. And that's really what networking has done for me. So I feel so blessed and grateful every day. I don't take any of this for granted. So enough about my story. It's probably a little bit too much, but I wanted to give people an example of kind of who I am and what I've created. So you know that I'm a guy who had no business and no sales experience. I got laid off. And I can do this stuff, and chase my dreams at the same time. And everyone here is on the call. You're experienced. You've got experience. You're intelligent. You've got the drive. I know you can do this equally well, if not better. So you can't just, and then you've got to be committed to taking the action. If you just think about it, it's not going to happen. So here's the thing about networking. Took a couple of screenshots from emails over the past couple of days. Here's the XDX Summit, the Planning Exchange, the Arlington Chamber, and the Cambridge Chamber are both doing events. There's a new meetup group they're telling me about. There's the Cranberry Institute over here, why business planning isn't boring. That actually sounds kind of interesting. So these are all set within a few days. I'm getting, networking events, networking requests constantly. So can anyone tell me, why are so many people networking? Now, let's take an idea. Go ahead and type into the chat box. Why do you think so many people are networking?
Mm-hmm.
Great. They're looking for clients, more exposure, keeping them in front of them, get more business from it. Right. Oh, and I love Storyland. Thank you. Another Storyland fan. Need more leads, less expensive way to generate. Yes. All those things. That's right. What's going on is networking works. This is why people continue to do this and why it hasn't gone out of style, because all this stuff works, even for people who aren't very good at it. And I just get frustrated when I see people who've been networking or doing okay, but they're struggling, and I see that because just a little business with a little bit of tweaking, you can bring a lot of qualified leads. I'm going to share some case studies with you in just a second. People who've been networking or doing okay, but now they've cleaned up their elevator pitch. They have more leads than they can handle. Business networking works, and that's why now is a perfect time for you to jump in and start networking effectively right now. It's 2015. We're going to jump in and do this. So, and I'm not talking about 6 months down the line. I'm talking the networking event, you're planning to attend tomorrow night. You guys know which one I'm talking about, So go ahead and apply what you're learning from today. This stuff works, and it generates profits. Okay, so I'm going to share with you 3 case studies of just some average, ordinary people who are getting some really cool results. I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but the first one is, other people are becoming trusted advisors. So Jack is a buddy of mine who I met years and years ago through a few different networking connections. And it's funny because his dad is a master relationships builder, using a Rolodex, back when people still used those real big Rolodexes. So Jack has all this sales experience, but his networking results aren't that impressive. So I finally convinced him to sit down with me for my 2-hour Elevator Pitch Complete coaching program. He tried out his new pitch later that week, and here's what he had to say. I gave my new 30-second elevator pitch at a networking event the other night, and 2 people approached me afterwards to invite me to do a presentation for their company. Thanks for your help. Right? With the right elevator pitch, when you're using the right elevator pitch, things like that just happen. Here's another example. Anne is she's in one of the most difficult to differentiate industries, website design. There are a lot of these folks, maybe even some on the call. So she took me up on a coaching offer for one of my keynote speeches, and we worked out a new pitch for her. And this is really exciting because one of the top questions I get is, where do I find better events? How can I figure out what the best events to go to? And Anne proved that there are no bad events, that there are opportunities everywhere. Here's what she had to say. I was at a networking event the other night. It wasn't a great event. There it is. It wasn't a great event, but I was sitting next to a business coach who now wants to meet me to learn how I can help her clients. Then I was talking to someone in the hall who knows someone who's a perfect referral for me. It works. That's right. It does work, networking. And that's the thing. It's funny because people come out of an event, and I saw a chat earlier that, I usually meet one person at an event. And we're going to be talking how valuable that one person is, right? If you can meet one person at an event, that is so powerful. talking about someone else, this guy, Craig. Craig's in an even tougher industry, insurance. I mean, how many of these people do you meet every day? You know, you go to a chamber event, there's insurance people everywhere. And he's been around for a while and been very successful, which meant I was even more surprised when he told me the benefits he got from his new pitch. In my 31 years in business, right, this guy's been around for a while. In my 31 years in business, I've had maybe 2 people ask clarifying questions after hearing my old elevator pitch. Since working with you, I've tripled that number in less than a week. So here's a guy who's been networking all the time and being pretty successful, but he was never starting any conversation. No idea that that was even the point of going to the networking, that the job is to start conversations. And now that he's changed a little bit about what he says, he's starting a lot more conversations. All right, here's probably my favorite story. Liz is, when I met Liz 3 years ago, she was an introvert and a director in a biotech firm. And she had since been promoted to CEO. And in 3 short years, she's built up her network so that she gets job offers every week. That's right. She's very happy with what she's doing. She's not looking for a job. When she sits down to lunch with people in her network and they let her know that if she's ever looking for a new opportunity, they want to be her first call. Now imagine having that kind of job security. 12 people asking you to call them if you're ever in the market for a job. So would anyone here, just leave a comment in the comment box if you'd like to be one of these success stories, in the future. You start expanding your network so opportunities just fall in your lap. If you're interested in that type of game, that type of business, and being a success story that I can feature in the future, go ahead and type in the question box if you would. So anybody else interested in kind of finding the success, being a trusted advisor that gets this kind of trust stuff going. Yes, Heather, I do actually have a whole program for introverted people. Conversation starters for introverts. I'll point that to you. I'll send that to you after the webinar. Everyone wants a success. Great. Yes. Yes. Well, I'm going to tell a little bit about what you do here, but introverts are actually good at the relationship building. They're just not so good at starting conversations. And so when the quick thing is if you just learn a couple of techniques for starting conversations, then you're into conversations, and that's where introverts feel happier in conversations. But anybody who's interested in that, actually just type in that you're interested in that. I'll be happy to send that program to you afterwards. Okay, so very cool. I'm pumped. So we're engaged. We're excited about this. So I hope you're taking notes and getting ready to interact in the chat box because we're coming to that part of the program. We're going to do that giveaway towards the end. But let's move to the next point of the content, the next part of the agenda, is how trusted advisors get results from networking events. So here's the formula, and hopefully you're taking notes. This is the fun part. So the cool part about networking is you can really start to gauge how many sales you're going to do because you know the averages and the numbers. So I'm going to give you the averages. If you already have events to attend, and I'm assuming that there's some events you attend, and it's based on averages. So don't go and say that you did your first networking event. I'm not saying that you go to your first networking event. That's definitely what will happen. Though I have seen it happen for a lot of people around these averages. So let's assume that you're going to an event with 40 people. The event may have 15 people, may have 150 people, but I'm just going to say, let's pretend it has 40. So when your elevator pitch has a strong call to action, so it's something I talk more about in the advanced training, the call to action, you can expect that about 7% of people will approach you with a legitimate lead. So that's 3 people who are prospects. Also, in the advanced training, I'll show you how to pick 3 non-prospects to follow up with as well. So you have a one-on-one with them. When you have a one-on-one with them, you can expect that between the 2 of them, you get 3 more prospects to talk to. So that's 6 prospects total. And a standard sales average is that you'll close 16.7% of the people that you have. So then you have to ask yourself, what's the price of the product you're selling? Is it a $500 product? Because when you're using the skills you learn here, you'll make a sale from each event. Now, it probably won't be that week, and it definitely won't be at the event, and it may not be that week. And the thing that people don't understand about networking is that it probably won't be with anyone who is at the event, right? If somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, what you have to do is kind of take that first thread and start pulling on it, and then you find the person that you got out of that initial event. And the really interesting question is, what's the lifetime value of that customer? Because they'll buy other products and services from you. They'll refer you to other clients. So is that more of a $10,000 opportunity or a $100,000 opportunity or even more? So it's pretty cool. So you can figure out the math once you know how many events you attend and how many people are at each one. And that to me is the fun part. It adds a little bit of science to this whole networking thing. It's figuring out, okay, I just need to I just need to go to the events and which I teach in the advanced training how to create more opportunities to talk to people, to become a better network, deliver more value, and support more people in solving their problem. Show you that you have a solution to their problem. And that can be, it can be a product or a service or coaching or a mobile app, whatever it may be. And once you have the lead, you're in your wheelhouse, right? I mean, if someone says, hey, I think I'm interested in your stuff, let's sit down and talk about what you're offering. I mean, you'll expect to close more than 1 in 6 of those, I would expect. And that's the great part about business networking, that you start these relationships that actually you start these conversations where people actually want to hear what it is that you have to say. So let's go on to the next part of the presentation. This is the really juicy stuff. This is the 5-step trusted advisor networking system. All right, this is it. This is the good stuff. I'm going to give you the formula right here, and I really urge you to take notes on this and type this off into the chat box, and I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. I'm just going to get a quick sip of water because I'm going to fly through this, okay? Okay. Are you ready? For the formula, the 5 skills apply to any kind of networking event and developing any kind of business relationship. The skills flow together naturally to show you as trustworthy and show you who else you can trust. And so the skills that we are talking about are the elevator pitch, follow-up, one-on-ones, professional referrals, and opportunity spotting. Let's start with the elevator pitch. And most people think that their elevator pitch is about proving their expertise. And about that, they would be wrong. As I said earlier, the elevator pitch is for starting conversations. People spend so much time trying to cram all their expertise into the elevator pitch. And all you really want from the elevator pitch is something that'll get the other person to respond, right? That's how you start conversations. There are kind of 2 ways to start a conversation. You can either start a conversation face-to-face, one-on-one. I call this the conversational elevator pitch, when someone walks up to you and says, what do you do? And the other way is when you're introducing yourself to a crowd. This is really what people mean when they talk about the 30-second elevator pitch. When people talk about developing the 30-second elevator pitch, it gets you leads when you're in an environment where everybody gets a chance to stand up and give their 30-second introduction. And the biggest mistake people make is using this formal pitch when they're talking to someone face-to-face. You have to know which pitch to use when. So your answer for what you do is different from your 30-second elevator pitch, but the goal of both is to start conversations. Whether you are one-on-one or in front of the crowd, you're looking to start conversations. Remember Craig, there's 2 questions in 31 years. He had 2 people ask him a question in 31 years. Now he gets 6 questions a week. Now he gets it, and he's starting conversations. And so I think it's worth thinking about that when you talk about the elevator pitch. What you're really looking to do is to start conversations. That's how it gets going. The expertise and all the other stuff comes later. It's really just about saying something that gets the other person to respond. So the next skill is follow-up. And if you're concerned that you're being annoying when you follow up, you probably are. And it's for one very simple reason. You're following up about you. Have you read my proposal? Have you thought about what I talked about? Have you looked at the list of contacts of people who can use my services? Me. That is annoying. It's annoying to people because other people are thinking about themselves. And so the key to following up is to follow up about them. That's what my buddy Steve actually did with me. He sent me some interesting stuff for me and wove in news about how well his massage chair business was growing. So he's still there. He's signing up more car dealerships. That actually makes me feel like he's more legitimate, right? I mean, I don't want to send the people that I know, my car dealerships, some of my best customers, and I'm not just going to send them willy-nilly to somebody I haven't met. So over time, he sent me updates, and it builds trust, right? And again, I wasn't annoyed to hear from him. I was actually happy to hear from him. I always intended to help him. I always intended to make the introduction. But he's got a really nice way of following up so that it doesn't feel overbearing. And you can follow up with people with articles or newsletters, or if you're on any email newsletters, that's a great thing to forward to someone. And I get the question all the time, but I sent in a proposal. How do I follow up? it's the same thing. I mean, if you send a proposal to someone and you find an article about their business, or you get an article that mentioned something that they had talked about being concerned about or something they're interested in, you can forward it on to them. Just say, hey, I saw this and thought of you. And you can bet when you do that, they will respond to you about your proposal. It's one of those things, when you follow up about them, they will respond with information about you. I saw this great article on you, hope things are well. People remember that kind of thing. So follow-up has to be about them. When you make it about them, they will respond in terms of you. I got a great question from Kathleen, who's someone that I work with before. So how do I continue the conversation to close the business, right? I mean, we're talking about follow-up. You got to continue the conversation. And once again, you really just get in touch with something about them. That's how you develop the relationship. That's how you talk about it. Start with something they want to talk about. And if you have a proposal into them, they stop being surprised that you're talking. Once they stop being surprised that you're talking about something else, they'll give you an update on your stuff without being prompted. So you keep in front of people by showing them things about them. And I'm not saying that every day you need to send something about every person to every person, right? That's definitely not what this skill is about. What I'm talking about is that you want to when you get an email newsletter, if somebody comes to mind, send it on to them, right? You don't need to send it on to everybody, just somebody who comes to mind. And so that's really the thing about follow-up. So the third skill is one-on-ones. And so trusted advisors realize that the biggest opportunity in networking events are non-prospects. Anybody out there who's racking their brains trying to think about where their prospects are hanging out it's not the right thing. You don't want your prospects. You're not looking for your prospects because it's actually so much more powerful if someone you know and trust introduces you to a prospect. So if you run into a prospect, someone who's hot for your product or service, then I recommend you stop networking. Right? If you run into a legitimate prospect, set up a sales meeting for tomorrow, later this afternoon, whatever it is, then go back to networking with other people. So most people are comfortable setting up sales meeting with prospects. The question is, what do you do with the non-prospects? And what you do with a non-prospect is a one-on-one. You sit down for coffee. Get to know their business. Get to know them. Let them get to know you. This is the face of business networking. And if you're in a networking group, any of you out there who are part of a networking group, you should be doing 2 one-on-ones between the meetings. And it's not, and this is the real work of networking, getting to know people. It was amazing to me. I attended networking groups for years. I was at every meeting, and my results were okay. But then Tom Vance is actually the guy. He forced us to have one-on-ones. He had this really clever technique that I talk about in the advanced training about getting people to actually sit down and have the one-on-ones. And there was an explosion of referrals that came out of that group after that. Once you sit down with people and get to know them, like all the work comes from those one-on-ones, from talking to people one-on-one outside of the meeting or the event. And so what do you do once you've had a one-on-one with everyone? Start again. Every 4 to 6 months, you can sit down with people. People change jobs, they change customers, everything changes. And some of my best opportunities have come from the 6th, 7th, or 12th one-on-one. I mean, there are people that I sit down with on a regular basis to meet with them. And one guy, I team teach with him occasionally, and we knew each other for years before that ever started. But one-on-ones are how you develop that trust. And I will say, if you won't always be able to schedule them, right? People who are in my program know that I suggest you try to schedule 3 one-on-ones out of any event, because if you try to schedule 3, 1 or 2 of them will schedule. And trust me, if they can't set up a coffee, if the person you're trying to get in touch with can't find time or a way to set up coffee with you, they're never going to call you with prospects. Right, so it's the kind of thing you look for people who are interested in interacting with you and getting to know you. That's how you do the networking. So set up one-on-ones. This is the most powerful and least understood skill in all of business networking. Once you get this, you don't even have to master it. Once you get this, you see a dramatic jump in your results. So if there's only one skill you take away from today, there's only one action you take from today's program, pick 2 people who are non-prospects and set up a coffee. That's absolutely the path to becoming a trusted advisor. So the 4th skill is professional referrals. It's really funny. I got a referral from a buddy of mine, one of these guys that I've had a lot of one-on-ones with. He referred me into a speaking gig. I had a quick question. So you're saying if you ask 3 people for follow-up, 1 will say yes. Well, Heather, yes. On average, I'm saying if you ask 3 people to sit down for coffee with you, 1 or 2 of them will say yes. It's 1 or 2 that will say yes. So usually 1 of them will not. Sometimes you get all 3, but not usually. Like averages, that's why you contact 3, because 1 or 2 of them will say yes. The other ones won't respond. So yes, that's business networking. You don't expect to connect with everyone. You just do your stuff, and the people who respond are people you follow up with. Great question. Thank you. So professional referral. So my this buddy of mine was so excited. He sent me this email introducing me to someone who I could do a speaking gig for. The thing was, I already know this person. I mean, I've been doing speeches for this woman for years now, and he was like, "Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. I introduced you to somebody you already knew," but he wasn't. It's not a great referral, right? I mean, and the worst kind of referral, the absolutely worst kind of referral, is someone who comes up to you and says, "Hey, I gave your name to someone." We all say, I gave your name to someone, right? As though if anyone on the call has ever received a call from someone who got their contact information, was supposed to call them, I'll be amazed because that almost never happens. So that's not a referral. So giving someone's contact information. So professional referral is a co-introductory email. You call each person, right? My buddy should have called me, said, "Hey, I'm working with this woman. I think it might be a great opportunity for you." And the funny thing is that it is a great opportunity for me. I'm going to speak to her group again. Like him mentioning me brought me back into mind, and we reconnected, and so I'm going to speak there. It's just he created a little bit of an awkward situation by not checking with me first. And this is the key, right? You have to have people who call you back. You call them up and say, "Hey, I want to introduce you to someone." They gotta call you back. And if they don't call you back, then you can't introduce them. So you call each person, tell them a little about the other person you're going to introduce them to, and then you send them both a simple introductory email sharing their contact information. And I'm telling you, those calls happen 99% of the time. You send a co-introductory email. The calls happen and the connections work. And it is a little bit more work, but that's what makes you a trusted advisor. It's taking that time to make sure you're setting the people up. They make sure they know it's coming, right? It's not a buckshot kind of approach. It's setting people up. So you just put together an email with a little about each person, why you're connecting them, and how they can get in touch with each other. And in the advanced training, offer exact email scripts for how to do this if you don't feel like making up your own. So the 5th skill is opportunity spotting. My client Ann was a good example of this. Over the website designer who went to a bad event and ended up with 2 great leads out of that. I think actually both of those turned into clients, both those leads from that bad event. So went to a bad event and made 2 great connections. And so by definition, any networking event where you make 2 connections is a good event. It may be a great event, but making 2 connections is a good event. And, some people were saying, "Oh, I meet a lot of interesting people." Right. Networking is not about meeting interesting people. Networking is about setting up coffees with interesting people. That's what it is. So she didn't see the opportunity. She was confused about why she was there. And that's a lot of what I offer in the advanced training that I'll talk about in just a second. I'm almost willing to guarantee that any event you attend, there are opportunities there. Because I do this all the time with my clients. So they go to an event, like, we're talking about it. But once we start talking about it, there are actually great opportunities there that they weren't seeing. And so, Cinda, thanks for the question. How do you politely turn down clients you do not want to work with? Actually, I never turn down a client. I just price the work so I'd be willing to do it. So if you have, I got this advice from another consultant that I work with, that if you never say no, you just price it high enough that you're willing to deal with the client. And usually you price it high enough that they just don't feel like going with you. But that's the way to politely turn them down. Charge them enough that they decide it's not worth working with you. Or if they do, make sure it's a high enough price that you are willing to put up with them. So now I want to ask an important question. I want you to put your pen and paper down. Just leave it in front of you for a minute. I'm going to ask you to type something into the chat box in the control panel here. So, put down your pen. I know you're probably getting lots of notes, and that's great. My question is, let's practice what we're learning here. What's the most surprising or valuable thing you just learned? We've gone through the 5 examples, and kind of what is the thing you learned from all of them? Just go ahead and type in the chat box what What was the interesting thing you learned out of it? Great. One-on-ones, make it about them, not me. Bringing something about them, not you. Professional referral, two-step process. Yep, great. Make most of on me. So I love doing webinars, put the fun back in business networking, right? This is supposed to be fun. I've been in front of over 1,000 people in the past 5 years in person on webinars. Over 6,000 people use my online software tool to improve their elevator pitch and networking results. This is what I love to do. And so when you guys are saying, you follow up about them, the approach really works when it comes to referrals, you're looking for opportunities, great. So it sounds like and the key is kind of how to find the time to do this stuff, right? People are always asking how to find the time. And what I teach in my training here in a second is how to get better results from what you're already doing, especially if you don't think you're doing that much, right? I work with a lot of people who don't feel like they're networking that much, but when we talk about it, it turns out that there are a lot of opportunities that are going on with the networking. So even if you don't think you're networking, this is still something for you. So it's time to move on to the next part of the agenda, and accelerating becoming a trusted advisor. So I'm very excited to share this with you. It's something I've been very proud of building and creating to help entrepreneurs and business people leverage networking as a way to become a trusted advisor. And this is the formula how to do it yourself. So I'm really excited to introduce the Trusted Advisor Community. And this is the most favorite thing I've ever created because it helps so many people, like I've shared with you today, get better leads and make lots of sales in their business. The Trusted Advisor Community. So I want to share with you exactly what's involved in this advanced training and how you take action on getting it right now. It's live training webinar, open office hours, a private discussion board, and for those of you who now want individualized coaching. The program is ongoing, and I want to talk through all the different modules that are part of it. This is a screenshot of everything that's involved: the webinar, the office hours, private discussion. I'll go over each one in a second. So each webinar comes with worksheets and homework, things you can try out immediately in your networking to keep you motivated and learning these skills. I saw a comment earlier. I always learn something from you, Andy. Thanks a lot, and thank you for that feedback. And that's the same feedback I get from the Trusted Advisor community. There's always a few things you can learn. So you try them out. That's how you learn what to say in a networking situation. So I'm going to share what that means in just a second. So the monthly webinars. So these are scheduled, and each one will deal with one or more aspects of the 5 skills. We don't, so these, when we talk about becoming a trusted advisor, these are the 5 skills that we talk about. The elevator pitch, follow-up, one-on-ones, pressure referrals, and opportunity spotting. Each webinar gives you 3 ideas you can try out immediately. I actually call it my 3 ideas in 37-minute program because they're 37-minute webinars. You get 3 ideas you can try out immediately. And so some of the upcoming ones, I'm actually doing my whole elevator pitch workshop, the 90 minutes to a 30-second elevator pitch. That one's coming up. That's great. If anybody who wants the full 30-second elevator pitch, that's worth it alone to join the program. We're going to be talking about improving your results from networking groups. We're going to be going in detail into giving professional referrals, what that looks like, what the email looks like, how you send it, what you say in the conversations with people. We're going to be talking about how to go where your prospects aren't, right? We talked about how it's not about finding prospects. It's about finding people who know your prospects, developing trust with people who end up getting to know your prospects. So each month there's a webinar, and it's recorded, and you get full access to the recording and the worksheets and the transcript. You review the information wherever you want, and we give you action steps to take your networking to the next level. So that's the webinar program. The next is office hours. So each month, this is the second time each month, I set aside time where I take questions from anyone in the program. So we look at everything in the context of the 5 skills. So we pick a focus for each session, and I take any questions, and we also have what we call the accountability roundtable. So anybody who's looking for motivation, you want to go out networking, but you're just looking for motivation, accountability roundtable is a great way of getting that motivation to just get you on. And again, people are out networking. A lot of you are asking questions today on the webinar, just quick questions. Office hours is a great way to get those out of the way. You have my time actually for as long as people are still asking questions. And so some of the stuff that's coming up with that, we're going to be talking about conversation starters. Any of you who are introverts, interested in starting better conversations. Conversation starters is a great program, great way to do it. We'll talk about increasing attendance, whether you're just part of a group or running a group or whatever it is. the circle of trust, how to build trust faster, how to do instant trust. There is actually a way of doing instant trust. I talk about that when we talk about the circle of trust. And people are always interested in how to get people to respond. How do you follow up so that people respond? And so I'll be talking about these. And again, the office hours, for the office hours is live interaction with me. It is recorded, so again, there's a chance you can go back and review everything you're doing. So next we have the private discussion board. It's a private LinkedIn group where everyone gets on. If you have a question or observation, something you're trying out, you don't have to wait for the office hours or webinar. You ask in our private chat room. We all help each other out. We share best practices and ideas. It's a great motivational tool to share events you're attending and learn other types of things you can do. So, I encourage everyone to be active on that group, and we post best practices, for networking events, and networking groups, and chambers of commerce, and BNI clubs, any kind of stuff, all sorts of resources for running groups effectively and being effective in a group. And I'm really excited building this as a resource for, all of you who are eager to take action on becoming a trusted advisor. And now the best part, anyway, the coaching. So you don't need to get coaching, right? If you're interested in just monthly webinar program, that's certainly available. But if you're looking to accelerate your results, it is the fastest way. And there are three ways that I offer that. There's the Premier. The Premier program is for people who are serious. 2015 is the year. That's the year for me. I'm going to learn how to business network. It's kind of an intensive program. It adds unlimited phone coaching calls to the program we've already talked about. So, you're getting ready for an event, I'll walk you through. You need an elevator pitch, I'll walk you through. Whatever you need, unlimited coaching with me. In addition to being on the webinars, you actually get unlimited coaching with me. So if you attend an event, I'll help you spot all the opportunities. You sent a follow-up email, nobody responded. I'll share with you templates, and then you customize it for your situation. I call it the unlimited plan because it's, unlimited. When you have a question, you call. I've gone to this program because people were, in any other form, people kind of were worried about calling me, worried about bothering me. I love doing this kind of work, and I love my unlimited coaching clients, and they love it because they just call me when they got a question. We answer it, they move forward. Like you don't have to wait for the next call or anything like that. It's truly unlimited coaching. So obviously I don't have a limited number of these slots. So if you're interested, I would encourage you to take action and sign up in just a minute. The second plan is the executive plan. For any of you folks who are already, you're trusted advisor within a group of people, or you already do some coaching, or you run a networking group, or you're part of an alumni group, or anything like that. This is the executive program. So, or if you have a sales team kind of thing. With this plan, you get to bring up to 15 people from your group to join the webinars, the office hours and the discussion group. So this is kind of the group. This is the group program, and it's the kind of thing when everybody in the group is trained on the same procedure, right? Imagine if everybody in your networking group understood the 5 skills of the trusted advisor. If you were all working together to make this happen, it's very, very powerful. So again, you can invite a group of 15 people to be part of it. And so again, the key to making the group successful, everyone has a great elevator pitch. They do the one-on-ones. They get better at spotting opportunities for themselves and each other and the other people that they're working with. And so this group training format really helps accelerate the results in your entire group. And if you got more than 15 people in your group, just let me know. We can work out. It's very effective. It's a very effective group training program. A really great thing you can offer to any sort of group you're running. And then the third program is the ambassador program. This is for people who don't want or need the coaching, right? The coaching may not be right for you, but are looking for kind of a twice-a-month motivational program and the support and advice on the discussion boards. You're an ambassador becoming a trusted advisor. It's, again, purely a group program. I have a lot of people who are part of this program, love it. It's just a motivational thing twice a month. We sit down, get together, talk about something having to do with business networking. And a lot of you might be thinking, okay, well, that's great, but what are some other resources that I could use to get some results? And you're in serious luck because I just worked out a program that I call the Book of the Month Club. So this is the first bonus. So each month I send you a book. A physical book in the mail. And it's a book that I highly recommend. I can't guarantee exactly which books, but the books that I've used in this, the Keith Ferragi's Never Eat Alone. I mentioned earlier, Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty, great book. Earl Nightingale, Lead the Field. It's not a networking book per se, but it's one of the best. Anything by Earl Nightingale is great. And so if you haven't watched or read Lead the Field, I highly recommend it. And I've made greatest salesman in the world. Again, it's just for 6 months you get a physical book in the mail. So each month, 6 months, you get a highly recommended book. If you invest in the Premier or the executive program. And again, it's not usually part of the program. It's a bonus that I offer. for those who are willing to take action and becoming a trusted advisor. And some of you may say, well, you talk a lot about the elevator pitch. How do I know if mine is working? And as a thank you for, thank you for working with me here today, bonus number 2, I have a program called Instant Leads from Your Elevator Pitch. And by the end of this 3-step program, you'll have a great elevator pitch for any networking situation. It contains 3 core video modules: answering what you do, introduce yourself to the crowd, and business networking for busy professionals, plus bonus videos on effective follow-up, on best practices for conducting one-on-ones. Those of you who are like, oh, one-on-one, how do I do that? That's in this program as well, and how to strengthen your call to action. Plus, of course, all the worksheets and transcripts are included with the Premier and Executive program. So, is there a money-back guarantee for this? Cinda, do you also coach about selling? Yes, I do coach about selling. I mean, my focus is on selling through business networking, but I am a cold call salesman, and so I do coach about that as well. If you're interested, I encourage you to get in touch with me and talk about it. But yes, I do coach about selling. So do I offer a money-back guarantee? Of course I do. I don't believe in refunds for myself for stuff that I buy, because I find that if I apply myself, I easily make back my investment. But what I have is a 60-day money-back guarantee, 100% of your money back within 60 days. I have to do 3 things. You got to complete the Instant Leads program, so you have a solid elevator pitch. You attend at least 3 networking events and send me your strategy worksheets, which again I share as part of the program, and participate in at least 3 coaching calls. So you just have to do 3 events over the next 2 months. I mean, you could do 3 events this week, and just show me, who you connected with and how you followed up. So you send me your completed worksheets, prove that you attended a couple of events, and you had the 3 coaching calls, and you still want your money back. You got to completely back. And if you don't complete those 3 things, then I don't. But you got to complete that, because I'll tell you, I've never had one refund of this product, not one. Because when people take action, if committed to it, you're going to get the results. I can't say you're going to get the same results as me or the other people. I can't claim you're going to make any kind of money or any sort of that stuff. But you show me the completed worksheets and you attended the 3 events and you did your coaching, I'll send you a full refund. I think that's fair. So here's what you get. Here is the recap. It's the monthly webinar training. That's $129 right there. The monthly office hours. Again, I put that at $129, but you can't actually. You're not invited. Nobody's invited to that if they're not. You got to be in this program to get that kind of access to me. And then a discussion board, which again you don't get access to if you're not part of this program. All the best practices and tips about the inside thing. The Premier Coaching is $249. Book the Month Club is $210 for 6 months. And then my Instant Leads program goes at $197. So it's a value of just over $910. It's way more than that. I charge $250 for half an hour. And then if you get over 6 hours of instruction in the Instant Leads course alone, plus the live webinars and full access to me at office hours. So if you wanted advice by this for me for the hours, way more than $800. So you can see the value of this training. Everything that's included. And so today's price is only $350. Well, the price is originally $350. But since you've been so active today and your incredible action takes committed to the growth of your business, you see in value in investing, I'm going to set today's price at $197 per month. So again, it's an incredible value. That gets you all the webinars and the office hours and the discussion board and the unlimited coaching for your investment. You know what you're getting, and you take action and amazing results. And if you're not happy, you have a 60-day money-back guarantee. So here's what I want to do right now. We're going to get to Q&A in just a second, but I want you guys to open up your I want you guys to open up your email program. Just click on that thing there. That'll email me. I want you to, so there's an ongoing training program. You can't get access to what you missed. So I'm getting ready to raise the prices again. But once you sign up, you're locked in that price forever. And so since I'm live here on the webinar, I can't take your calls right now, but I like to talk to everyone who's joining the program. So here's how you reserve your spot. Send me an email with a phone number you'll answer within the next hour after the webinar ends. If you don't answer, I'll just move on to the next person. So when you're ready to now take action, just send me an email, awinnig@improvendy.com, with a phone number that you'll answer in the next hour, maybe 2, once I finish the Q&A. I'll just start making calls and get you signed up right away. So go ahead and get into your email program and send me that email. You're getting the webinars and the office hours and the discussion board and the coaching if you want it, and you're getting everything you need to become a trusted advisor. Whether you've networked a little or a lot, whether you have a great elevator pitch, I will show you exactly how. And so once again, today's price $197 per month. There are three options. So the best deal, this is the Premier one. It's $197 a month, gets you unlimited coaching, plus webinars, the office hours, all that kind of stuff. There's also the executives, $249 a month. Again, that gives you 15 people access, up to 15 people access to the monthly webinars. And the ambassador program is $49 a month. Just want to join the webinar program. So I'm going to be answering questions for the next 15 minutes or so. Again, I got some questions going on, but if you're if you're interested in locking in your price, talking to me, go ahead and shoot me that email, and we'll be and anybody's got questions, go ahead and put them into the chat box, and I'll just start answering questions. So Catherine, thank you. The minimum number of months you have to be a member in the program. Well, yes, I do like people to commit to a minimum of 3 months. So I think that shorter than 3 months, you don't really know whether anything's working. So I do ask for a 3-month commitment to this program. But after that, it's month by month, and you can people stay. Like I don't have many people leaving the program. But yes, I do. Thank you for a great question. I do ask people to kind of commit to 3 months in the program. Heather, have you written any books? Yes, there is a book that I offer online. I am actually getting into print within the next couple of months, so that book will be coming. More of my stuff is webinars. I have a lot. If you go to courses.improvandy.com, I actually have a lot of kind of audio video courses that I sell over there. So that's where. But I do have a book coming out probably by summertime. It'll be the Elevator Pitch Handbook will be coming out. Great questions, and keep them coming. So again, if you're interested in taking advantage of this, go ahead. I have a couple of questions here that people have asked, so I'll start going through those. And again, if you have other questions, just feel free to type them in. So, what is a trusted advisor? And so, to me, this is a great question. We kind of talk about a trusted advisor and kind of what. And to me, the trusted advisor is the first person that you call. They know the other people you can trust, because there's nothing worse than getting referred to someone who won't return your call. So a lot of the job of the trusted advisor is to vet the people that you're going to be working with. So the trick is to develop that trust. And again, these are the skills that we're talking about. That you develop these skills. You develop these skills, and then you develop that group of people that you can trust. Got a question. What does the ambassador package include? The ambassador package includes the monthly webinar, the monthly office hours, the private discussion board. So all that, it's that monthly kind of training and access. It's access to me in the office hours plus the webinar. So monthly webinars plus the discussion board. That's the ambassador program. Cinda, thanks for the question. The next question I got was, my biggest concern is fitting my business with the right kind of client, finding better clients, and learning what they need from me in order to get work. And I mean, what I'll say to anyone who's interested, who's concerned about their customers is, look, your elevator pitch is attracting people. Thanks. People are already emailing me. Thank you. Cinda came through. Thanks. I'll call you after the webinar. Thanks for being interested. Anyone else who's interested, go ahead and start emailing. So I will say to people, your elevator pitch is about attracting people, and your elevator pitch is attracting people. And if they're the wrong people, if you're getting the wrong kinds of clients, people that you're not happy with, I really encourage you to shoot me an email right now. Get signed up for the program so you can fix that, right? I mean, the elevator pitch is just the first skill, but it's a crucial skill to get because we're going to have that 90 minutes to a 30-second elevator pitch. Once you have your elevator pitch set, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And once you're attracting people who are really closer to what you're talking about, that is better. So, if you're not happy with the clients, then that one webinar alone will be worth your investment in this program. So I encourage you, again, if you're not attracting the right kind of client, that's the kind of thing that you're doing you want to be attracting. You want to start attracting the right people. Another question I got. So again, thanks for all the questions you're typing in. Any other questions, feel free to do that. So how do I change professional business people's train of thought? Mature business owners get complacent and lose their passion. How do I get them passionate again? And I mean, it's true, people do get comfortable. What you want to do is kind of show them that there's more to learn, so they don't know everything. And that's a great example of the executive package, right? I mean, if you're working with professionals and they're kind of complacent, then that's a really good time to talk about. To get them into this program, sign people up and get them on the monthly webinar, give you something else to talk about. They learn something. There's a lot of stuff they can do. So that's a really good question. Heather, thanks for the question coming in. So your program should apply to nonprofit people product rather than a physical product. Yeah, Heather, I mean, you mean kind of a service, a nonprofit people product. I mean, yes. So yes, it applies to services. I mean, a lot of my work is actually with service people. I work with a lot of coaches. I work with a lot of lawyers. I work with a lot of bankers. People who have certain, bankers say they have a product, but I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to think in those terms. But yes, whatever you're selling, it's like whatever you're selling. I don't demand a physical product. And in fact, most of the work I do isn't a physical product. It's with people who are selling services. And I myself sell a service. I don't actually have a physical product that I sell. I sell elevator pitches. So there's nothing nothing physical about that product. So yes, thank you for a great question. It does work with. It does work with people, and it does work in the nonprofit. It's interesting for me because nonprofit stuff, with nonprofits, you're still looking to get money from people, right? And maybe not even money with nonprofits. You're probably looking for volunteers. You're trying to get people excited about what you're doing. And the program will absolutely work with talking about the nonprofit stuff you're doing in a way to get people excited to volunteer with you and help you out. The same way you kind of get people interested in signing up for your product. Volunteers and financial product. Yeah. I mean, again, Heather, whatever. Yes. I work with a lot of financial people, and yes, volunteers. Yes. So nonprofits. Again, this stuff is almost even more powerful there because in business you're trying to get someone to exchange money, but with nonprofits you're looking for people to kind of exchange their passion. You're looking to deal with their passion, and the same stuff works. So people trying to get volunteers involved. There are ways of describing your organization in a way that people will want to get involved, and yes, the program absolutely works for that. And the same way you get people excited about giving you money, for your programs. Yes, absolutely, it will work for that. Thanks for a great question. The people have questions, keep them coming. I love the live questions. So the next question. Sometimes people pay me for advice and end up following the advice of their spouse, neighbor, friend, mailman, dog trainer. Yeah, this is a good question. And first of all, congratulations on getting them to pay for your advice. I mean, most people that I work with, it's more an issue of trying to, I'm giving away too much advice. How do I stop giving away advice? If people are paying you for the advice and then ignoring it, at least they're paying you for the advice. And what I'll say is, if I pay for advice, I generally follow it. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing it for. But I'll say maybe you're working with the wrong people, or maybe you aren't developing enough trust that they think you can take them to the next level, right? I mean, they pay you for the advice, but then something gets in the way of them wanting to do it. So to do more about this, I need to hear more about your process, how you find the people, how you give the advice, when they pay you, how you present the next steps. So you might be forcing yourself to make two sales, right? I mean, I know I've done that myself, where you kind of sign people up for a trial and then try to sign them up for the real thing. And I mean, having to make two sales just makes it harder for you. So that's sometimes it's hard to get people to pony up the money again, like they paid you for something and kind of now they're done. But it's whatever it is, definitely fixable. It's perfect use of the Premier program, step by step through the way you're attracting people, how you design the program, how you can kind of make it seamless from the design to the implementation kind of thing. That's that's kind of thing I love working on. Great. Again, anybody's got questions, go ahead and type them in. Keep the emails coming for folks who are interested in the trusted advisor community. So my biggest challenge is people respecting boundaries and taking up too much time. It's the age-old question: is this conversation worth it? Am I going to get anything out of this conversation? And that's something we spend a lot of time talking about, which events to attend, who to talk to, how to gracefully exit from conversations, how to know when to try to restart a conversation, who are the people you actually do want to be talking to. And it goes back to understanding the goals of networking. It's not about trolling for sales. It's about getting to know people. And that's the thing. People will say, I met some interesting people. Again, meeting interesting people is a cop-out. If you set up a one-on-one with them, then you're actually doing some networking, right? Meet interesting people and set up one-on-ones with them. That's the way you do that. And people who are concerned about wasting their time tend to be taking more of a transactional approach to networking. I didn't sign anything up at that networking event, so it wasn't worth my time. But that's not really the That's not really the way it works. The way it works is as long as you're getting to know people and people are interesting and you enjoy talking to them, that there's plenty of value in that. So we got about 3 minutes left here. For folks who are still interested, go ahead and shoot me an email if you want to get involved. Again, if you have any other questions, feel free to send me feel free to type me into the chat box. I got a couple more questions here. So another question I got is people start my programs and face a challenge, and they stop the presses because they've had an opportunity to discuss the challenge and the options to move forward. And like an earlier question we asked, it is the case where their fear is overriding their trust, right? I mean, it's something, you're helping them with something and something happens and they suddenly lose faith that the thing is possible. And so, I mean, it's normal for some people to sign up for programs and then bail out. I mean, that's definitely, people sign up and then decide it's not right for them. And so as long as you have some long-term loyal clients, then it's probably more about these people than you, right? I mean, it's the kind of thing like some people get scared when they face a challenge and they can't get through it. And, as a coach, you can only really help the people who want to be helped. But if it's true of most people you work with, then I encourage, again, to shoot me an email, get signed up for the program so we can diagnose and fix it. Great. Okay, so I'm kind of running out of questions, so we're getting to the point that we're going to pick the winners of the raffle. That's the other thing we have to do. Again, I'm going to choose the person who gets a free 30-minute call with me. Let me just poke back through the chat box here and see who we got. So I am going to. All right. So you know what? I can't help it. I'm going to have to pick two people. So Cinda and Heather are the two winners. So go ahead and shoot me an email, and we can set up your free 30-minute coaching program. So thank you very much. So that's the they've been very, very active, and again, thank you for being on the call, and I look forward to talking to you guys. Just shoot me an email, and we'll set up a time to talk. So I'll give another 30 seconds or so. If anyone has any other questions, I am happy to do that. So yeah, Cinda and Heather, just shoot me an email, and I'll respond to you, and we can set something up. Is there any other questions? All right. Well, great. Thanks everyone. I appreciate you being on till the end. Again, if you are, send me an email. Be by your phone. So I'll start making those calls probably in 5 or 10 minutes. Get you going and signed up. So thanks again. I appreciate your time and energy for being on here. Thanks for being active and engaging, and connecting, and commenting with me. It means a lot. Thanks for your time. And if I can support you in any way, just feel free to hit me up, and we'll go from there. Okay. Happy networking, everyone. Thanks again. Yes, and if you're good at what you do, you can get good at this. That's exactly how this works. That most people aren't good at this. Most people are good at what they do, but not good at this. And what I teach is how to be good at this. So thank you. I look forward to chatting with you more about what you're working on. Okay. Thanks everyone. Happy networking.